Alright folks, AG squared here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install quarter round molding on top of your flooring. In a previous video found up on the top right, I showed you how to install this flooring, so check that out if you're interested. Okay, for this project, what do we need, folks? It's actually really simple. We need a nail gun, such as this. This is the Ryobi Airstrike, big fan of it. I've used it for years. You might need some pliers in case you have any remaining nails from the previous quarter round molding. You need a pencil to be able to mark indentations on your quarter round molding that you see here. I'll show you how to install it later. They usually, you want to buy plenty, so you want to measure before you buy, so you have the right amount. You need a tape measure. Yes, I may not be an actual pro at this, so I may occasionally need to measure it. I'll show you also tips on how pros sometimes get around without having to measure. And then you also need what's called a miter saw. Now I've got this manual one. I'm not loving it, but it gets the job done, and I'll show you how to use that here shortly. And the last thing I'm not showing here is wood putty. No matter what, when we're making some cuts and connections into a 45-degree angle, anytime you have a wall meet another wall, you're going to have minor gaps, and you're going to want to fill those gaps using a similar color to what your quarter round molding is. And if it's white, you want to use white, maybe use some caulk to hide it. But if you have something like this, I like to use wood putty to make the transition look good. All right, so let's go ahead and show you how we get this going. All right, folks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start planning where we're going to install the quarter mold. And you're first going to start on this wall. When you're measuring the very first long piece, you're going to want to know how to transition. And I like to start from a corner, okay? So my first piece is going to start on this 45-degree corner like this. Now again, pros, they might want to perfectly measure this and make sure that it is in fact 45 degrees. I'm just going to eyeball it, and I know it's going to be 45. So we're going to start here. I'm going to make a cut to my quarter mold that I'll show you that's 45 degrees. And then I'm just going to, basically install this, make sure there's nothing here that's going to disrupt it from going in on a flat surface. So you kind of see me running my hand around here, making sure that's good. I've got a little bit of caulk, but that's okay. That's what I'm more worried about are like nails sticking out, things like that. So this is ready for us, and I'm going to show you how to make a cut. So we're going to make two cuts here shortly. We're going to make that 45-degree cut, and then we're going to make another 45-degree cut in the middle here, so that we can easily transition another piece right onto it. So let me show you how I do that with my miter saw. Now in this one, I don't have to take any measurements. We're going to use just one big piece, the one you see here. Okay, so all I'm going to do is you see on this side here, this is the side that's going to go up, that's the side that goes down. So this thing's going to basically go in like this on that wall. So on my corner side, my 45 degree, I'm going to cut it at that same 45 degree. And then at the very end over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut the same 45 degree this way. And I'm going to need to do the same on the next piece that I'm going to cut and connect to it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So first thing to start is to remove these very annoying sticky labels. Sometimes they get a little bit stuck and you have to clean them off, but if you remove them at a 45-degree angle and pull away, they tend to be not too terrible to take off. There we go. So this one's ready now to be cut. All right, let's move over to our miter saw, and I'll show you how to do this. So the miter saw, it's a really simple machine. Basically its job is, you see, I've got this thing connected. It's the saw piece. I see these here that are in the holes, same thing over there. That's straightforward. We've got these two yellow pieces to hold our quarter round molding in place once we put it through. And then we've got this angle measure here where in order to move the overall saw, I just press on this thing here and move it. So the 45 degree I want is facing that way, which is this side. So let's go ahead and press in on the button and then move it all the way to 45 degrees as it says there. If you needed 60 degrees, you have it here, 75, 90, and the rest of them. So that's all we need to do to get this set up. I'm going to move it a little bit that way. And then I'm just going to position my quarter round molding such that I can just simply slide that in. And I'm just going to put it in as close to you can see me holding it down like that. I want to put it in as close to the edge as possible, just to save the molding. But at the end of the day, not much to worry about, as long as you get it right in between there so that you don't have anything being lost. And because I have a really good grasp on this, I'm not going to be using our holder, so I'm just going to use my hand to hold it in. And now we just grab the handle with one hand, raise it up, and just start cutting this thing away. I like to start at an angle, kind of like what you see here. It's a 45-degree inclined angle, and I just cut. There we go. And now we've got this 45 clean degree angle. And like I said, now we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side of this molding. And that's just so that we can connect it to the next piece and have a nice transition. If you don't do these cuts, your moldings are going to look like they just butt next to one another. They won't look as good. So this is optional, but it definitely will make the difference. Now on this side, you got to make sure that the bottom portion of the saw over here is going to not be cut short. You want to be a little bit generous on this so that you don't cut it short. So same thing, I'm just gonna, this one I am gonna put a little bit of additional support. I'm just gonna put so the way these work, you kind of see the way you just simply slide them in with the gap facing towards you, and then you just rotate. As you're rotating, it's gonna be pushing against that. I'm still gonna grab it on with my hand, and with my left hand, I'm just gonna initiate the cuts. Again, I like to start at an angle and then just cut away. There we go. Okay, let's see what we got, y'all. All right, now I'm also gonna come over here and start grabbing my nail gun, because that's gonna be the next step we do. Nail this sucker onto the board. And hopefully, you know, folks watching my video, it goes without saying, I am not a pro. So sometimes I don't know the names of all the things I'm working with. No offense, but the name doesn't matter. What matters is that you know how to use them, how to get the work done. Yeah, I'm just navigating to the kitchen here. So this is the wall we want to put it next to. So let me go ahead and set things down, which are drill. Okay, so like what we said, for the quarter round with the molding, the piece that's colored here on the side here, that's the part that we're going to want to keep facing up. The part that's flat, we're going to keep it facing down. So that's like this. And we're just going to put it on against this board, and we're just going to slide it through all the way down. There you go. Now you can see here, obviously I cut some of these short. I'm going to fill that in with putty, because frankly the next best alternative is just to redo the entire floor and start it. So this is why it's so important to get your flooring measurements as close as possible and not have too much of a gap. Let's show you our cuts and how things work. So on this side, this cut here, we've got 45 degrees. So the next one, we're going to measure from left all the way to the right, and we're just going to cut a 45 degree, same thing facing that way, and we're going to connect it right into it. That's as simple as that. And before I nail things, I like to double check that everything looks good. Same thing here, I've got a 45 degree cut. The next one's going to be just connected right next to this, and we're going to, you know, basically just slide it in that way. So now with our nail gun. So nail gun, I'm not going to do complete overview, but I do have nails. You can see them right there. So just get that locked in. I've got my battery. To engage, you've got this little button here. It's kind of like your safety disabler, and it also turns on the light, as you'll see right there. And then you got to press in on the part you want to nail, and that will disengage all safeties. And then you just press the trigger, and then you'll be able to fire off the nail. Okay, when putting in a nail on a quarter round molding, you want to do it such that you don't do it too high up, because then you're going to just simply break the molding and it won't engage. So you do got to do it low enough to be able to go fully through the board here. The power on this is determined by that, but I'm going to see exactly how the first one goes. So you'll see how I start at an angle, And then I kind of put it next to it. I'm angled downward, but not too downward, because if it's too downward, it's just gonna, you know, go right through, and it's not actually gonna penetrate the baseboard here. So let me go ahead and reposition this. So I'm happy with the overall placement. Place it down, push in, fire. That is perfect. Looks great. So now I kind of, you know, eyeball it. I don't know how much distance, but I just go one by one. I connect them in. And you can see the mechanics of how this works. I always like to do the end. Always have one at the end as well. There we go. All right, there you have it. Quarter round. Be putting in putty there where we have a gap, but besides that, that looks great. And that's gonna hide a lot of some of the minor gaps, not any of the major ones, but like the minor ones. And you know, if you really want to do professionally, you'll take a little caulk and just like seal the gaps you see here, but I'll probably do that at the very end. So I'm gonna do one more cut, folks, just to show you all me connecting the corners, and that's all I'll show, because after that it's all just the same. It's just cutting it to be at a 45-degree angle like here. Sometimes you cut one at a straight 90-degree angle to make it flush with this, like I'll show y'all. And then besides that, that's really all there is to quarter mold. So I'll do one more cut here, and then I'll finish the work and show you all the finished product. Okay, so what I do here is I'm gonna go ahead and cut that side so I can get it nice and flush, and then I'll come back and just see how much I need to cut at a 90-degree, and I'm gonna mark it with my pencil here. That's just kind of the easiest way of doing it. So I didn't really have to bring this in. I just wanted to see how much, if I did have to make a cut, and I will need to make a cut. So let's cut this puppy at a 45-degree. Remember, the way you're cutting it matters. So a wall is going to be the opposite on this one. So I gotta move this, push in, and make it the opposite 45-degree, because we're gonna cut that way into it, which is now facing that orientation. So don't forget that. Gotta remove our tape. There we go. All right. Okay. All right, we'll move this. We're gonna go ahead and cut this puppy. All right, folks, so now that we made that cut, let's come over here and show you what we're doing. So we come over here, you can see how much of a gap there is. So we're actually, before we nail this down, we're gonna install a new floor here and make sure that it doesn't look this bad. But it looks really good, right? Like, what we did get a really nice 45-degree cut. Any of these gaps, we're gonna finish it off with some wood putty, very minor. So all I do to finish this is see the excess I have, put it nice and flush, and mark it with a pencil. And that's gonna be my 90-degree cut, and that's all there is to it, y'all. After that, we just finish nailing this in. It's the easiest part of the job. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing that. First, I'm gonna install a new floor here so it doesn't look terrible. And then we're gonna finish all the rest of all of our wall type corners here. We're gonna put in order that molding across all of this here, through here as well as here, and that little piece there. And normally I'd be doing this also in the closets, but I know our renter has some stuff in there, so we won't bother them. As you can see, there's some stuff there. So we'll just do that when we at a later point in time. So we're gonna finish this up, and we'll show you all the final product here shortly. All right, folks, this is another take of a corner 45-degree, which you know, doesn't come out perfect. There's still some imperfections there. So again, putty's our friend. Putty's a good thing. So I'm just gonna putty that up, cover the nail holes with my finger, and then wipe off the excess so that we doesn't look terrible. And then I'll use my other hand to push nicely, clean it up. There you go. Worry about the angles, just a little difficult to do, but you kind of get the message, right? I mean, I'm gonna continue cleaning this up, but with putty, what used to look like a bunch of nail holes in the corner that didn't look good, now looks beautiful. Looks gorgeous. All right, folks, this is going to be my first corner that I call my 45-degree sticking out corner. Unlike all the other corners, those are 45 degrees that go inward, similar to the one over here as well. Goes inward. But this is a 45 that comes outward toward us. But it's the same mechanics in terms of measuring. What you're going to do is you're going to take one piece and cut 45 degrees. But you can see it's important to line up the cut so that where it's flush, it's right at the corner of that. And I'm going to do the same thing for this other piece. I'm going to cut at 45 degrees this way. I just got to make sure that where my cut comes flush over here, it's going to be the same length as what this board piece is. So what I'm going to do to start technical, from a strategy perspective, is I'm just going to make sure that this is nailed in well. So in order to do that, I don't have my pencil, but I'm going to draw a line, as usual, my 90-degree cut here, make sure that this is placed nice and secure, and then I'm going to measure this piece, and I'm going to cut a 45-degree inward into that, and a 45-degree inward into here. It's going to be the same 45-degree cut on both sides, and I'm just going to put it in, put it to fit, and then any gaps that exist, as long as they're not severe, putty it up. We fixed the piece of wood on the corner here that was sticking out, so that is now resolved. We're going to clean this up debris. We've cut it through the kitchen, and even underneath the cabinets, we've got core mold down there as well to make sure that it flows real nice and smooth. And I just realized I'm missing one last piece right there, so we're going to go ahead and fix that. But besides that, this is our flooring project, and I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, if you enjoy this video, please consider liking it. And if you are interested in more content around DIY pro projects, real estate, finance, or technology topics, give my channel a subscribe. Thanks, until next time.